What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Continuing on with the Pete Dye series for another backyard simulator video here. Today we are still working our way through the list in alphabetical order. I know I kind of jump around a little bit with all these different series going on, but I like having options out here, so when I come out and kind of pick and choose which one I feel like playing, whether I want to do push-ups or a par 3 or a long challenging hit driver type of course. But for today's video we are playing Grand Harbor Golf and Beach Club. This is the Harbor course in Vero Beach, Florida. This was completed by Pete Dye in 1987, so highly rated course. Generally speaking, the Pete Dye courses are pretty challenging and difficult, especially from these furthest back tees, so we're going to see how we do today. A little bit warmer than it was last time. It's about 45 today, so maybe 10 degrees warmer. I spent about 4 hours yesterday doing leaves all across the yard and back here, so at least for the time being, it looks nice and tidy. I was actually out here before I started this video, out here picking up individual leaves, just so the ones that fell overnight, but so far it looks pretty good. Got some mushrooms growing over here. I don't know what the deal is with that, but maybe I'll, if I'm having a rough round, maybe experiment with one of those. Just kidding. But real quick for the rundown, Garmin Approach R10 behind me on a DIY level stand, Country Club Elite mat, Callaway Super Fastballs, DIY stance mat, 10x7 nets, and home tee here you're seeing within the Garmin Golf app. And while I'm thinking about it, haven't played out here in a couple days, but last time I was out here, I think it was the second round, I thought I heard something strange with the driver, and I actually looked after, and the slidable weight here on my Stealth 2 Plus was loose, and it actually came up towards the fade side, so I cranked it back down with the wrench. Hopefully that doesn't happen again and it doesn't loosen up, but I'm going to keep that in mind both back here and on course if I hear anything loose, or just to double check it. So that would kind of suck if I lost that thing, but we're going to give it a go and get started here with the first hole. Only took about 10 swings or so like usual. Hit approach wedge, pitching wedge, 9-iron with the 770s. Still trying to get used to those. Obviously I want to play out here and shoot a decent score, but I have plans to play next week on course, and really what I'm just looking for, considering these irons are only just over a week old since I've got them. Want to hit driver well and consistently, not really looking to max out distance and really max out score, but really today I just want to focus on making good contact with driver and continue getting used to those irons and hit those well. So first hole, we've got a par 4, 374 yards. Looks pretty straight. Gonna aim up this right side, and we'll see what happens here with the first driver swing of the day. Apologies in advance for the nose sniffles. It kind of comes with the territory nowadays with the colder weather, but that was pretty high in the face. That's not going to go very far, but should be in the fairway. .60. Tough too sometimes with this colder weather. The feel kind of goes down. There's different feelings. The off-center shots have even more feedback when your hands are cold, the ball's cold, everything else. So that one actually wasn't too bad. I mean 260, but I think some of the these off-center shots, both with the driver and irons, they're gonna feel worse than maybe they might result. The result may be, if that makes sense, just from the vibrations of the cold and whatnot. But second shot here into this par 4, 115 up 1. I like that distance. Gonna go pretty much full approach wedge here. This is 51 degrees. A little bit thin, toey. It's gonna fade, but should be on the green right side. Said it last time, and what so far, I mean, granted it's been limited experience with these irons, but that was really, really toey, and just I'm impressed and surprised almost with the consistency of these irons, even on off-center strikes. They're more forgiving than you would think, and just the consistency with them distance-wise and dispersion, much closer than the loft-jacked kind of more definitely game improvement, almost super game improvement Sim 2s that I was playing with. Those sometimes you get those really hot ones that jump off the face and whatnot, and it's just the I think it's probably overall the spin, because they're lofted a little bit weaker, and I guess just how they make them with the speed foam and everything else with all the R&D that goes into these irons. But pretty impressed so far with the consistency. Even through one, second hole par 3, 154. Gonna go 9 iron so far, 2 for 2 on good distances that I like with these irons. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily gonna hit it great, but at least these are not in between yardages just yet. Struck it decent. It was right in the sweet spot, but I left the club face open. Hopefully that catches the right side. Alright. Let's stay on. I think it did. Again, like I was saying, that one I struck decent. I just left the club face open, but right in line with what I would expect, or what I've been seeing so far out of that club distance-wise. I guess what I was saying before, what I was getting at is with these irons, the front and back dispersion and also left and right dispersion is pretty good. Obviously it comes down a lot to the operator, but third hole par 4, 384. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna favor, I guess, this left side just in case I leave it open. I'd rather be in the rough of those bunkers over there than losing a stroke with a penalty into that water. Again, like I said, just working on, or focusing on just consistent ball striking, or as consistent as I can get. And the only other real thing I'm doing, I guess, 2 things. One, I'm just turning. I saw a video, I mean, who knows, you see all these YouTube videos, I kind of take bits and pieces of certain things that I like, maybe certain things focus in my head, but I guess one guy was saying, generally speaking, pros compared to amateurs, not that any of us are pros or can really compare our games to them, but generally speaking, he said that their trail arms, so our right arms for you righties, is much more kind of almost under and facing the target, versus some amateurs, they get up and over the top with your arm kind of facing down. So I'm just working on a little bit of having my forearm feel like I'm kind of up into the target just when I set up for the club. Not necessarily putting my hand underneath, but kind of setting my arm and then gripping the club. And then the only other thing is just on the takeaway, just keeping the club face looking at the ball more, a little bit more closed, versus kind of flipping your wrist inside. But only 2 kind of minor things that I'm working on, or just have a focus on, I guess. That's gonna be, oh man, luckily it didn't leave a sky mark or a new one, but that's my problem. I start trying to hit up on the ball, again, the ball launched up in the air, and then I go and start skying it. That was half on the crown of the driver, 203 yards. Alright, gonna try to not do that again. I've been saying, I said it last time I was on course, and I might have mentioned it back here, I've been kind of babying that driver just because it's basically the newest driver you can get, and pretty expensive driver. I wouldn't have paid for it if I had to buy it new. You guys remember my Sim 2 part of the face cracked, so I sent this back to TaylorMade and they sent me this, but I've been kind of babying that driver since I got it, not trying to really swing out of my shoes really with anything, and try to be more controlled so I don't kind of mark up the crown of the driver and mess up the driver the appearance wise. But at a certain point, I mean, it's I was looking at a forum, like someone said, they're tools, not treasures, basically meaning I was talking about I was looking up bag chatter with these forged clubs. They're softer metal, so you get your clubs rattling around and they put little nicks on the irons. But basically the person was saying there's no real way you can get around that unless you use head covers. And then speaking of the driver, I mean, it's a tool, so I gotta just get it used to using it and swinging, and if on accident I put another sky mark on it, so be it. But I gotta try to swing a little more free and not worry about as much of the messing up the equipment as kind of just focusing on hitting good shots. But rant done for that part. 185 left into this green. We'll try the 7. Been seeing about between 180 and 190, I guess, if I strike it well. Despite the forgiving and consistency I was saying, you do get punished if it's a severely bad strike with these, so see if I can get the 7 there. Oh, and that's a good example of it. That was extremely heavy. That's going to be short left. And terrible shot. Good read from the Garmin. Alright, see if we can make up for that. 39 yards left. I think I'm going to try, we'll go choke down approach wedge. This is kind of an in-between yardage. Usually I start the approach wedge at about 45-50, and then I like going to the 56 anywhere from about 25 to 35. 40 is 39 is kind of right in between, but we're going to do, I guess, a flighted down, more controlled, see if I can get 39 yards out of this approach wedge. We'll see. I might have put too much on it. That may be closer to 50. It might be a little bit long. Yeah. Not bad though. I mean, that's pretty much what we were looking for. Just, it always surprises me. Although, I mean, smaller club face, less forgiving, all that stuff. I think the speed foam on there, and I've noticed on like those short little pitch shots with like the approach wedge more specifically, even those slower ones, the ball does kind of jump off the face. I think probably from the speed foam they inject. You see a lot of the more players clubs, higher end clubs, they have this little screw, and my understanding is that they inject basically kind of, I think, similar to like almost an insulation foam. They inject speed foam and it fills it up, and then they use the screw basically to cap it off. I don't know if you guys can, we'll get behind here, you understand kind of what I'm talking about, but that little screw at the end of the club, you see, it's not just a TaylorMade thing, there's a lot of different manufacturers that do it too, but I think that's where they inject the speed foam. Alright. 4th hole, 1 over, par 4, 355. What's this layout looking like? Slight dogleg left, so we got some room up there as long as I don't sky it, 200 yards. I choked down a little bit on that last one with the driver. Kind of still experimenting. I changed over back to the extra stiff, regular length driver shaft when I got those irons. So I'm still kind of getting used to this as well. Figuring maybe a happy middle ground would just be choking down, maybe inch, 3/4 of an inch or so, kind of in between that length of this and my 3-wood shaft that I was using for a while. Alright, that was hit much better. I left it out to the right a bit, at least it felt like. We'll see if it comes back a little bit, but that was pretty close to the center of the club face. That should be a good 270-ish, 269. Better swing. Kept my head down, go figure. Alright, 91 left, up 1, so 92. We're gonna go approach wedge. And let's see, still kind of, again, obviously experimenting how far I need to choke down, how hard I need to swing with some of these in-between kind of control shots, but 100 yards, if I have a full swing with it, it's about 115, 120, so I'm thinking about probably about a 3/4 type of feel with this approach wedge for 100. I used to really like that 48. I guess I could put it back in my bag, but eventually I want to stick to 14 clubs, and eventually start getting too closely gapped with certain irons and stuff, so. Thin, we'll see. Sit. I think it just stayed on. I mean, it was a good 100-yard shot, but we needed 10 less than that. Take the par though. learned my lesson from last time and actually wore pants out here, despite it being a little bit warmer. But I was reading again, just different Reddit stuff on my phone and whatnot with golf. I was seeing about distance drop-off. I was looking up distance drop-off with weather, and a lot of people thought, or they say that about 40 degrees, 45 degrees is their cutoff, and there is a pretty big noticeable difference today that it's like upper 40s. I think it's like 46, 47. It's supposed to be the high of today, maybe a little bit colder right now, but there is a pretty noticeable difference between like 35 and 45. Fifth hole, par 4, 427. I don't love this tree here, but I guess we're just gonna leave it there and hopefully start it pretty much where it's aimed, not catch that palm tree, and then turn it over a little bit to the left. A little bit lower on the face, a little bit toey. Kind of a low line drive, but not horrendous. Better than skying it. About 260 it looks like. 260 on the dot. I do think, I mentioned I think last time, I may end up cutting down. I basically have, when I got the Sim 2, it came with obviously a driver shaft. It was a little bit heavier. They're both RDX black, extra stiff. So I got a shaft with that one for a while, or for most of the part. I was using my 3-wood shaft in that Sim 2. And then when I cracked the face on that, sent it back to TaylorMade, the head, they sent me the Stealth 2, and they came with a brand new shaft. So I'm using the shaft that came with it, the extra stiff, but I do have an extra shaft, driver shaft, kind of laying around. So I may end up cutting that down, but I do think that eventually I'm gonna get used to and really like the feel of having that extra stiff compared to stiff, and just feel like the club, I know kind of where the club head is a little bit more. It stays with me, not as much flex in it, but who knows, maybe next week I'll be back to the 3-wood shaft. Second shot into this green, 171 up 1, so kind of in between. This is going to be upper end for an 8-iron, but I think 7 is going to be too much, so we're going to go 8 and see if we can catch the front side of this. A little bit thin, a little bit toey, pulled it a little bit left, but that should increase distance and should get us there. Yep. Contact suffered a little bit from that, but 167 out of the 8-iron. We'll take that, considering Sim 2s I was seeing about 170, 175 usually. I was creeping up contact and speed a little bit, so I was seeing closer to 180, but like I mentioned, about a club weaker in lofts with these compared to the Sim 2s, and then you have the whole contact issue with the smaller face, smaller sweet spot, a little bit less forgiving. 1 over through 5, 6th hole, par 4. Alright, slight dogleg right, and we got water all along the left, so I'm going to favor this left side. Don't love being in trees, but I'd rather be in trees and in play versus penalty stroke from a ball into the water. Low line drive up the right. Not a terrible swing. I'd like to launch it a little bit higher, but that's going to roll out a decent amount. Alright. I like the sun because it's warmer, but it's right in my screen. Seeing a little bit of glare, it's a little bit tough to see some of these if I'm not standing directly over it. 106 left, down 1, so 105. Approach wedge. Basically, we were looking for what we did last time, 100-yard swing. We were looking for 90 last time, but let's see if we can get 100 out of this. A little bit thin again, just a tad toey. Not bad though. I always kind of find myself second guessing myself how thin or how fat some of these are, because you get a little, it's a little bit deceiving with the mat compared to grass. Obviously you play on real grass on course. I wish I could have a grass range or like a piece of turf I could just switch out or something like that, or maybe eventually. I mean, simulators have come a long way even in the past like 2-3 years. Hopefully maybe something, a breakthrough in like mat technology to get like 90, 95, even 99% the feel of like real grass. If someone can invent something like that, would be pretty nice. I don't know exactly how you do it. I guess probably a little bit, obviously you can't take divot with a mat that you're not going to ruin, but maybe if the artificial grass was a little bit taller, you can kind of hit just underneath it and behind it a little bit more maybe, versus kind of drop kicking it and skipping the club off the mat if you catch it a little bit heavy. Alright, even through 6, 7th hole, par 3, 168, and we need all of carry here, so I'm going to go 8 iron, and hopefully, I mean, definitely can't get the 9 there. 8's questionable, 7 probably wouldn't be a terrible move, and just kind of have the miss just blasting it long, but we'll see if I can get the 8 there. Alright, struck it halfway decent, a little bit high in the face, and it's out to the right. Is it going to come back for us? Looks like it is. Alright. That was weird. It looked like the ball stayed in the air for a long time there. I didn't think there was any. Usually you see that when you have a large amount of slope down. So obviously the ball stays in the air as the ground is sloping down. That one seemed a little weird. Maybe it was just a little bit of a glitch, but we'll take that considering all the water. 8th hole, par 5, 422. Alright, you got trees pretty much blocking this off. I think I'm just going to leave it there and just hit driver and see what happens. I could lay up shorter, but I think we'd still be blocked out by basically those last 2 trees in that bunker. I want something out there so I can kind of go back to the right. So we're going to leave it there and hit driver. I was wondering too, I didn't really find any information, but if any of you guys out there that have forged clubs, let me know. I'm debating getting, I'm eventually going to get a new 56 and a new 60, and I've been looking at forged wedges. I'm wondering if the bag chatter is worse, because these are like cheaper cast iron wedges. I'm wondering if the bag chatter is, because this is probably harder metal versus the softer forged metal, I wonder if the bag chatter is worse if it's knocking up against these cheaper cast versus if the softer forged wedges, there wouldn't be as much bag chatter just for those clubs hitting, or if it's minimal enough that it doesn't matter. But I'm curious if any of you guys play forged clubs out there, mainly iron set, if you have forged wedges as well, and if you've noticed any difference. But felt that one in the lower back a little bit. That was out to the right. It looks like it's coming back. We got away with it. That was kind of an off-balance swing. .273 though. My little 3/4 of an inch choke down on the grip seems to be working out so far. Could just be swinging it better today, I don't know, but driver's been kind of in the doghouse past like month or two. 208 left. Down 1. So we're gonna aim left side of this green. Give ourselves room, and generally speaking, the longer irons are tougher for me to close the club face on and get them working from right to left. So this will probably fade. Hopefully I don't lose it super far right. And the question is, what am I going to hit? I think 5-iron is probably a good club for this. We'll see. Struck it halfway decent, but definitely left it out to the right. That could be wet. Oh, it's coming back though. Get on the green. Alright. Real life, that probably would have, that felt kind of slicey. Real life, that could have been water, but shout out to the lack of spin axis here on the Garmin. A little bit straighter than you probably would see in real life, so we'll take the birdie for sure on that. Decently struck 5. Again, 4, 5, and 6. I have a combo set with these new irons. 4, 5, and 6 are P790, and then 7 through approach wedge are P770s. 9th hole, par 4. 4-2-3, 257 right there. We're gonna aim out to this right side. Hopefully we hit a decent one and carry this water. Oh, that was really, really low and left. That made nosedive into the water. Go! Alright, we just got it over. That was very heely. .245, not great. Besides that pop-up, that was probably the worst drive so far. The other ones I was relatively happy with. Anything in that 270 ballpark and relatively straight right now I'm happy with. So 201 left into this green. I think 6. I think 6 is going to end up being close to my 200 club. Right now I'm planning on playing that 4-iron to about 225, 5-iron to about 215, 210, 215, and I think this 6-iron probably about 200, 205. Thin and heely. We'll see. Got to work. Alright, on to the back 9 we go. 1 under through 9, 10th hole par 4, 330. Shorter side for Pete Dye type of course from the back tees. Again, always play the furthest back. These are the black tees, I believe it was. That was actually hit pretty good, but it's going to turn over left. Or right. I don't know about that, but that one felt quicker. Curious, I'll take a look. Granted, it carried right into the rough, so we didn't get any rollout, but 101, 145, maybe not. I don't know what the other ones were. Didn't get the attack angle, didn't get the club face, didn't get the club pass, so maybe that's why. I had that one turn over left. I thought that was even going to be a little bit better than that, but Garmin didn't read some of that stuff, so maybe that's why a little bit of a discrepancy of feel versus the result, but still not too bad. 69 yards, nice, out of this rough. 10%, so we need another, call it 7. So just over 75 yards here. Gonna go approach wedge. What's a simulator round out here without multiple planes going over? right out of the middle of the cliff face, but it was thin. That's gonna have to get down. Alright, luckily I landed soft. Literally dead center of the club face, but it was like 2 grooves too low. And like I've been saying, although these are less forgiving, meaning that shots like that, it's going to be not quite as kind of neutralized from some of the technology. It should, in the long run, help improve my ball striking. Unless I'm just going to keep hitting them thin, eventually I'll adjust, and the smaller sweet spot, I would think, will in the long run benefit my game with improved kind of club face awareness and accuracy, I would hope, with ball striking. 11th hole, par 4. Alright, kind of a weird layout here. We're gonna, we can't even aim. I would want to aim further right, but we got this tree over here on the right, so I guess I'm gonna leave it there, and we're just gonna blast one out up the left side, hopefully. Man, I love, compared to the last round out here, I love how nice and clean without all the leaves it looks. Again, I'm waiting. I don't know if you guys can tell with the leaves. I don't think the camera's probably pointed up high enough, but probably about 75–80% of the leaves are down. So maybe another week or two, do the leaves for the last time, and then I have, like I mentioned last time, 1 extra bag of mulch over here, and I'll top dress this area. Should give it some new color and look even better for the winter months, and then I'll buy more bags again like I do in the springtime. Low in the face. Gonna be straight, maybe fade a little bit, but not the best strike in the world. It'll work though. .245, certainly not anything to write home about, but we're in the middle of the fairway, so we've had worse. 64 yards. This approach wedge is gonna get a ton of use between 115 and about 50. So 64, no slope. We're in the fairway. No, that was thinner than thin. That was horrendous. It's gonna be off the back. That might be in the water. Yikes. Well, that's frustrating. Didn't think that water would come into play. 17 yards in the rough. Need about 19. Gonna go 60 degree. Man, that's frustrating. I was hitting them thin before, and that was the thinnest one. That was just completely sculled. That was thin too. I popped it up, but it was thin. Had a lot of spin on it though. Alright. Kind of atoned for the sins a little bit. That would have been nice if it went in, but I think that's probably going to be bogey or a double bogey. Alright. .445. Back to even. 12th hole, par 4. Nice and open. Aim up this right side. Trying to hit the best that I can. A big high draw on these tee shots. Really all the shots too, including irons, besides wedges. But see if we can hit up on this. Start it out to the right. Get it work back and left. Get it working back left, rather. Well, it was really high in the face and was out to the right, but I don't know if it's going to come back a whole lot. It looks like it is a little bit. Forgiveness right there. That was pretty high and toey, but we still got 273 out of it. 171, 172 left. Talk about an in-between yardage. I'm gonna go easy 7. I don't know if I can get the 8 there. Gonna choke down about an inch on this 7. Just take my own advice, make good, clean contact. Pulled it left, struck it halfway decent though. It may be long left. That one felt pretty good when I hit that. Realistically, I should probably just do that every time. Think about clubbing down and swinging easier on everything versus trying to max out distance, but generally speaking, I skew towards the side of trying to get quicker and quicker and quicker and increase speed as much as I can, because obviously as we age and as we get older, it's only going to decrease. So my goal is to try to get speed up even more, and then as I get older it'll drop down, but trying to have a higher kind of starting point before the big decline starts to happen. But who knows, you see guys like Phil and other older guys into their 50s that still somehow seem to get quicker with technique and everything else. So 13th hole, par 4, 354. Quicker but thin, or low in the face. I guess you can hit a thin driver. Trying to keep in mind too, not too much, I don't want to overpower, have too many swing thoughts going on at once, but trying to work on a little bit bigger and deeper shoulder turn, and in turn, or in consequence, generally speaking, you get your shoulder to turn more, you're going to get more hip turn too, a bigger, deeper turn. Contact probably suffer if I lean too much into that, but alright, 97. Approach wedge again. Alright, we'll see about distance, but that was at least struck better. It wasn't thin, it was toey, but that was at least better contact. I'll take that. That's a, if there is such a thing, a good miss. Fourteenth hole, par 4. .350. Gonna need a good straight one here. Kind of a narrow landing spot up there with water left and right. Come on, forgiveness. That's low and duck hooky left, we'll see. Or out to the right, I don't know about that. It was definitely low, I got the trajectory right, but I thought that was gonna be, felt like a duck hook type of swing, not a fade, but it is what it is, still not great either way. 122 left. Alright, what are we gonna do here? I guess we'll go soft pitching wedge. I think I top out at about 115, 120 if I'm striking it well. I could probably get 122 out of the approach wedge if I hit it a little bit thin, not that I'm trying to do that, but pitching wedge probably a better club selection and just swing a little bit easier. I've been seeing about 130, 135, so I'm going to choke down about an inch. See what we get out of here. Haven't hit this yet this round either, so. Good strike, toey again. I've been standing closer to the ball because I've been catching them out of the toe and trying to be a little more over the ball. Good result, go in. Let's go. Let's go. That was toey. and it was a good result, but would like to, I think I need to stand even eagle. That helps the scorecard. I think I got to stand even a little bit closer and a little bit more over the ball to kind of bring the club or bring the contact point back towards the center, not as toey. Generally speaking too, the further away you stand from the ball, it's going to promote more of over the top to kind of get to the ball, versus if you're standing super close to the ball, almost uncomfortably close, it promotes more of coming from the inside. And if you think about swinging along the lines and closer to your knee, your right knee coming down, promotes more of that into out swing, which is what I'm looking for. But all right, that was a lucky hole out, but we'll take it. 15th hole, par 3, 179, 2 under, so 180. We'll go 7. Don't need to smash it, but still want a pretty full, good strike out of this 7 for 180. Heavy and left, that might be wet. Stay on the grass. Pretty poor strike, but we got away with it, kind of. Put this on the inner circle, we'll still be able to save par. Go figure. Go from a hole out from, what was that, 120 something for an eagle. Now we're battling to save par. Almost put it in the water. 28 yards, up 1, and we're in the rough. So 29, need about 32. Gonna go 56. Kind of stabbed at it, pulled it left. Garmin had that spinning back right. I don't know about that. Some questionable spin axis, more than usual so far. That one I kind of popped up. Granted, that could have started left and had a good amount of right side spin, so maybe Garmin did read that right, but I definitely had that left side of the net. Generally, a wedge shot like that doesn't move a ton left to right, but sticking at 2 under, 16th hole, par 5, 527. All right, let's get a good tee shot, shall we? That might be in the water. Go! Oh, that was so bad. The club face, I shut that down way too much. The club face was like completely shut when I made contact with that. That's what I get for aiming more out to the right, trying to get it to come back, and then I overdo it. Driver struggles are back. Thought we were trending in the right direction for a second, but that was horrendous. Alright, long way home. And this is tricky too. We got to get up and over this water. I guess I'm going to go 4 hybrid and just get it up there. Hopefully launch it high enough in the air to get over this water and into the fairway. I mean, this is going to play 50 yards short from where we're aimed because we're in the rough. So generally I like to see about 240, 245 out of this club. So we'll be lucky if we get 200 all said and done with the reduction in distance from the rough. That one, club face twisted, but that time it was open. It's gonna be over the water, but that's pretty far right. What's going on here? First one, the club face twisted closed when I made contact. That one, or right before I made contact, that one was twisted open. We got some work to do. Third shot into this par 5. We're in a bunker and we still got 324 yards. It's going to be 4 hybrid again. This time it's going to play, what, 60 yards? 64 yards short. So we'll be lucky if we get 175 out of this. Alright, that was still out to the right, but that was hit much better. Alright, hole out would be nice. So fourth shot into here, we basically need to put this inside the inner circle to, or we're already 4 strokes in, never mind. I need to hold this out to save par. Inner circle's a bogey, so 156. I guess I'm gonna go 9. Need a good 9 iron shot here. Struck it halfway decent, pulled it a little bit though. Strain out for me. Catch the green. Oh, is that going to be a +3? Or is it on the green? +3. Yikes. Triple. And just like that, 2 under to 1 over. Two holes left. It's not the time you want to fall apart. 17th hole, par 3, 227. I mean, we got water all over the place. This is a tough. I'm gonna go 4 iron. I don't love the choice, but if I hit the 4 good, it's gonna be too much club. I don't know if I can choke down and get 225 comfortably out of that. So I'm just gonna take a full swing with the 4, see what happens. A little bit heavy. It's going to be out to the right. That might be water. Go, 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 go. Came back for us though. I did shut the club face down. Caught a little bit heavy, so that killed some distance on it, but all in all, started right, came back left. Not terrible. Dropped my back foot back a little bit on that too to promote even more swinging out to the right, get the ball working back left, which it did, but considering I hit it heavy, took about 10-15 yards off of that. But we got a chance here to save par. 15 yards, down 1, and then the rough, so that's going to basically cancel each other out. So we got right around 15, going 60. That was heavy too, and it was toey. It's going to be a couple yards right, but we got the distance halfway decent. Decent par save. Alright folks, 18th and final hole. All in all, I mean, granted we got it down to 2 under, which is pretty good for this type of course and how I'm swinging it so far, but 1 over through 17, not too bad. Gonna need another good tee shot here to carry this stuff, get it over. Looking at 18th hole, par 4, 450. Alright, let's launch this high draw and not duck hook it low and left. It was hit decent, but it was still low and left. Get over the water. Go. Again, I guess I gotta keep in mind as a slicer of the ball, trying to eliminate that as much as possible. Low and left compared to high spinny and right isn't the worst thing in the world, but that's kind of a frustrating tee shot. Feels like I barely got off the ground. 208 left. We'll go 5 iron. That's probably in the water on the left. Alright, stay in the bunker. Those aren't even draws, those are hooks. We're up here though. Bunker shot is a pretty steep bunker. This is going to come out real soft. So generally 20%, that would be 5. It's probably going to play closer to 7 to 10 yards reduction out of this. So need right about 30, 31, possibly even closer to 35. Going 56. Good strike, we'll see. I don't hate it. Alright, that works. Ball stayed up here. Hard to finish it. Let's take a look at this scorecard. So, from Grand Harbor Golf and Beach Club, this was the Harbor course in Vero Beach, Florida, completed by Pete Dye in 1987. We ended up with a 1/71. Mostly thanks to that eagle, that lucky hole out on 14, but 2 bogeys on the scorecard, 2 birdies, 1 eagle, and then that triple on 16 hurt. But I think one of those bogeys was having a ball in the water, so that's not actually that bad. Somehow we hit 12 out of 14 fairways, which is pretty good. Greens regulation also, will take that. And putts too, that hole out helped, and those +1s helped at 27. All those metrics look good, and I'm happy with those. Just some of the ball striking wasn't quite there, but I mean, without that 16th hole, we were on par, no pun intended, on course for a pretty good score. Still not bad, obviously +1, but it is what it is. So for the first round, not too bad. Warming up out here. Gonna play 1, maybe even 2 more. We'll see. Came out here a little bit early. I had to wait. I was up early this morning, but I had to wait until the sun was at least kind of overhead. Generally speaking, the warmest part of the day is about 2, 3 o'clock once the ground warms up, but I wanted at least the sun to kind of be overhead, warm things up a little bit compared to like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. A couple hours after that, warm things up a little bit, but I'm gonna play at least 1 more, another Pete Dye course, maybe 1 more after that if I take a little bit of a break, but that's what I have. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any course requests down below. Give me the name of the course, the location, and then just a little bit of background information. I appreciate all the likes, comments, if you guys share these videos with anyone. But like I always say, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys at the next course.